Welcome one, welcome all. I am Mark Palda, a professional photographer. I have been in the photography business for well over 20 years. I want to help you succeed so you can earn money with your camera. With every episode, I will offer you sound advice so you can be part of the 15% of aspiring photographers who succeed. If you are looking for help to turn your passion for photography into a successful business, you have come to the right place. I have got the answers. My weekly episodes will help you understand how to market yourself, how to build a profitable business, and best business practices. No more feeling lost. You do not have to go it alone. Join my audio podcast and start taking my advice on turning your hobby into a profitable business. You will get access to a professional photographer and the best practices that I have learned and experienced over the years. If you have questions along the way, definitely email me. mark@markpalda.com. You are also invited to join my photography success text community. Send me a text. 915-226-0959. If you are outside the United States, be sure to include +1, the United States country code. Let's get started.
Photography is a bit like life. There are a lot of things that we can learn about it, and some beginners might wish they had figured them out sooner, instead of later on down their photography career path. Here's 8 lessons I've learned along my journey in this field. Maybe you'll find something useful from these tips too. 1. It's not your camera that matters. It's you. Equipment doesn't make a photographer. Cameras, lenses, computers, and lighting are all essential tools for photographers in the modern age. But there is a tendency for photographers to think they're the be all and end all of being a successful photographer. But it's important to remember that the best gear in the world is no substitute for knowledge, experience, and creative talent. 2. Aim for the eyes. It sounds simple, but it's amazing how often people forget to focus on the eyes in a portrait. The old adage of the eyes being the window to the soul is one to remember here. By focusing on the eyes, you will create a strong composition. Sharp eyes draw the viewer into the shot and help to create a successful image. 3. Keep your online presence up to date. In a world that's increasingly focused on the online world, being a successful photographer means you need to keep your social presence active. You also need to remain focused with the content you post. Number 1 is having a good website, which you keep relevant and is optimized for search engines, SEO. But it's also important to use apps such as Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, as these are often the way that people look for new photographers, especially if you are a portrait, newborn baby, or wedding photographer. 4. Learn about lighting from the start. Without light, there is no image, and light makes or breaks a shot. Understanding light is the single most important thing for a photographer to know. You need to understand natural light, and how different times of day and weather conditions affect it. And you also need to understand artificial light, flash guns and studio lighting, so that you can learn to control light in all situations if you work in a studio. 5. Maintaining a balanced life. It's very easy, when you start out as a photographer, to work 7 days a week. You want your chosen career to succeed, and it's easy to put pressure on yourself, and think that you should be working all the time. It's particularly hard as, for most photographers, photography is a passion, so it does not always feel like work. But balance is actually key for long-term survival in the photography industry. You need downtime to relax and keep your brain fresh. 6. Check your camera settings. This sounds stupidly simple, but I guarantee that at some point, you'll take a load of images, and then realize that you had your camera on the wrong settings, ISO being a particular favorite amongst many photographers I know. The way I avoid this problem is by always returning my camera to what I call its apostrophe default settings, i.e., a series of settings I use most frequently. That way I know how the camera will be when it comes out of its bag, and there's far less chance of making any mistakes. Also, always carry extra batteries. And it's a super good idea not to forget your batteries. 7. Actually running a business. When I first learned photography, I knew a great deal about the technicalities of taking a photograph, and a lot about photo history and theory. What I didn't know was how to run a business. And if you want a career as a photographer, you need to know how to run a business. It's a particular annoyance of mine that more focus isn't put on this when studying, but, even if you have to do it yourself, you need to put business practices to the forefront of your mind. 8. And finally, keep shooting as much as you can. However, many of these tips might be useful to you when you start out. The best way to progress as a photographer is to keep shooting. Try different styles, be innovative, and develop your own style. Experience is the one thing that you can take shortcuts on. Carry a camera with you everywhere you go. Even if it's a pocket camera. You can always return to a place with your proper camera if needed.
A genuine thank you for joining me today for this episode. If you are serious about success in the photography business, then I am serious and ready to help. Visit markpaldamentor.com and discover a variety of ways I can help you in your journey. If you have questions along the way, definitely email me. mark@markpalda.com. You are also invited to join my photography success text community. Send me a text. 915-226-0959. If you are outside the United States, be sure to include +1, the United States country code. I will catch you in the next episode.